On the bench top here we have a brand new, fresh out of the box LCN closer. 4040 XP is the model number on it. There. And in this video I'll show you how it gets installed. I don't know where. It could be a metal door, it could be a wooden door. So it may need wood screws, it may need sex bolts and through bolts to clamp the thickness of the metal door. I don't know. It could be left hand orientation, it could be right hand orientation. Either which way, the closer arm is meant to fit on either which way, that you get the idea, this way or this way. So it's reversible. These are all the components. This plastic case will cover it up, and just a few bolts. We have a template. I'll show you how to use this one. And we have look at this. It comes with a QR code. So this is the room, and this is the door on which this closer needs to be installed. It's obviously a wooden door, but it's not solid wood. It's wood veneer, so wood skin, and particle board inside. Maybe you can see that one a little better on top, maybe not. Anyhow, the closer is gonna be here on the door, and the pivot point up here with the closer arm, and it's gonna be pressing against this also MDF or whatever wood product trim item there. So this is where it's gonna go. It's important to visualize it before anything starts. And there's one other consideration here. From about this height down the handle, there are several chips in the door jamb and on the door's edge here, and below this height there, lots of skid marks going that way. So the purpose of the door closer needs to meet the purpose of the room. Whatever is being dragged through here, I think that culprit is that cart over there. And this door needs to stay open for the cart to go through and not damage the door any further. So I'm not sure what good a door closer is gonna do on this door, but so that's up to discussion. So ouch, this door is severely damaged. Before I begin, and also on the other side, curiously enough, the door jamb is thoroughly chipped. So maybe a push cart operator training and certification is in order for the person who can't find the middle of a doorway to push a cart through unassisted and keeps hitting left and right repeatedly. So back at the shop, I could get rid of the metal bolts, and they cut this one up and get rid of the metal bolts from this package as well. But before I do that, I want to look at these instructions a little bit, because now I've seen that the door's hinge on a closed door is on this side. It's still not clear whether this is going this way or this way. Still the hinge is being on this side here. So take a look at this. There is two variations of this installation here. This one is pull side mount here, and this one here is PA mount. And also on the other side you have PA mount, and this is also PA mount. So if I look at the picture here, I can see, and this is the one I'm gonna need. The hinge is gonna be on this side, and it looks like the cylindrical part of the door closer, this here, is pointing towards the top hinge. I hope this picture makes sense. This is upside down, but it's the same thing on a different mirror opposite door. It's still, the cylindrical part is still pointing to the hinge, but this is not what we've got. Look at this. So turn it around again. So cylindrical part is pointing to the hinge. So this is how it's going on the door. Therefore, the arm is gonna be on top of this side here. There, just to visualize it, it needs a little more push to go together. So this is just to visualize. That's kind of how it's gonna go together. And this is not gonna be needed because that's for PA mounting. So that's this template, and at this point I could cut away everything from it that's not necessary. So there, we're doing this right hand side installation. So this is for the closer body, and remember we need something for the closer arm, so this needs to be cut one more time. So let's have a look at this setup here on paper. I lined up the paper with the closer body and the closer arm with that piece of paper, and you can see how the two holes here, and two holes there line up. The gap between the two pieces of paper represent the gap between the top of the door, top edge of door, and the bottom of the frame. Very straightforward here. And there are these sticky stuck on both sides, so obviously this is how it's gonna go up on the door itself, and the edges of the papers will be neatly lined up so that this setup is gonna be exactly as the manufacturer specifies. I lined up this closer arm to be 90 degrees roughly, just roughly, with the table's top. That information is coming from the installation here. Now look at this one. We're doing pull side mount. We're not doing PA mount. The PA mount is parallel arm mount. So I could cut away that half of the instructions. I'm just gonna fold it in half just to visualize the mess here. And I also cut away, typically just for my own brain, the ones that aren't in English, so just cut away the bottom. And on this sheet I like to verify. There are 7 steps, well actually 6 steps, and the 7th is just extra information. That on the pull side mount, that's the hinge, this is where the closer is going, that's where the closer arm is going, so that's good. We're doing a right hand side installation. The door opens like this. Left hand side, ignore, no, I don't want to cut away any more of the paper. And then we'll deal with those things. And here is another picture. Yes, indeed, this is a right hand side installation. And just to double check that the edge of the door here to the center of the hole, when this is stuck with this sticker on the opposite side to the door, I'm going to verify that from the edge of the door to the first hole, center of the first hole is indeed 6¼ inches, 159 millimeters, exactly as specified. And again, line up the 2 pieces of paper. So all this visualizing is really important to do, because once you take away all the paper, this goes on the door with only 6 holes. Yeah. Where do the 6 holes go? They need to line up really well, and so this is the logic, this is how they all work together. So this visualization and accurate layout is really important, because if you put the closer body on the holes that you drilled, and out of the 4 holes only 2 of them line up and the other 2 don't, well, that's not happening. Okay, so that's why layout is really important. We're not making a Swiss cheese out of the door, we're getting the layout done right the first time. So that's how we're getting it done with these paper templates. Next item, let's take a look at the screws, where the screws go. This big one will go here. This one here will go here, whatever that distance is going to be set at. We have 2 screws. These are pen head, and they need a tiny Allen key, and these are flat head. These are the ones that I'm going to use because this is a plastic box, so these work with the plastic box. These work with a metal box, so they're not going to be needed. Put them somewhere. This parallel arm mount bracket, PA bracket, is not going to be needed. This is a spacer for the 5th bolt here, not going to be needed. These are the nut side of these bolts, 6 bolts. Not going to be needed, any of them, because they are meant for through bolts, through metal door, not needed. And do we have any wood screws? No, we don't. The reason for it is because we would need this. So on the bench here I have 4 wood screws that I just found in a box, and these are the 4 original screws with this drill bit at the end, self-tapping screws. As I look at the difference between the threads, knowing that it's gonna go into particle board. I think I like the sharper threads on the included screws. These ones look hot dip galvanized or something like that. They look coarser. I think it's gonna stay in the particle board and cut the particles in the particle board better with this thread. If this thread was finer, I would not consider it, but because the thread pitch, the difference between the zigs and the zags between each successive turn is almost identical, large enough to accommodate the particles in the particle board door, I think I'm gonna not use the wood screws. I'm gonna go with the original screws pre-drilled with a 1/8. Yeah, so over here it says use of wood screws is recommended for wood, but it's not wood, it's particle board. And over here it says the screws that they supplied, even though it's threaded all the way to the underside of the head, unlike the shown in the picture, it says pre-drill it with 1/8 of an inch drill bits. Easy. One drill bit, 6 holes, good to go. So I'm not going to use these wood screws because they don't provide any advantage over the ones that are supplied with the closer. So this is for the closer body. The closer arm gets mounted with these shorter ones. We have 4 of them, you only need 2, so I guess 2 are extra. This is also an extra screw. All of these are staying behind. I want to place this screw into the and mount the closer arm, but for this I want to preload, or want to show you how to preload this arm, because right now it's just assembled for show and tell. So this preloading is coming out of the manual right here, and we'll show you what it involves. So this is all assembled at rest, but this is not how it should be installed. The manual insists, rightly so, that this part of the closer arm be installed on the door jamb first, and then this arm be connected, but not here in a position where it just connects up straightforward like this. No, not like this. It needs to be preloaded, so it needs to be rotated 1 notch over somewhere here, like so. And this is preloading. I'm forcing this closer arm into this position. This is how it should be installed. So the position of the arm and the bolt need to go together like this for this installation. So I want to put this screw in here and tighten it while pressing down on the workbench here. Very straightforward why this is done out of sequence. I don't want to install this screw on top of a ladder, fighting with the door closer, maybe balancing on top of a ladder, reaching out and over, and not being able to extend enough downforce on this screw. That's what I want to avoid. So that's why I don't do it on top of a ladder. That's why I do it right here, right now. Before I put this screw in, take a look at it. There is a thread lock, a white thread lock compound on it. Not all around, but on, I don't know, half of it. So, to verify that this is actually installed to the correct depth, that's why I want to do it on the bench here, like so. Visually verifying that this is properly seated. Yes, now it looks weird as is, and it's heavier, but this is how it's going to be preloaded, and this is how it's going to be installed with the rest of the closer arm. And I'm going to put the small screw bolt into this just roughly somewhere, and we'll tighten it with a wrench. So the position of this bolt here and the length of this arm is just estimated like so. Just gonna tighten it a little bit. just gently, there, just roughly, there. So now I take it out in one piece like this. Tiny screws in here that will hold the plastic cover in place, but I don't want these screws that are rattling around everywhere. I just need 4 long screws and 2 of these short screws. These bolts aren't moving easily by just hand. It needs an Allen key or hex key, and of course it's 3/32 of an inch, the one that's needed for this one. I like to dry fit everything together, so I'm not doing this again on top of a ladder, balancing and not being able to see what the hell I'm doing with my hands. There, it's been dry fitted together. So everything goes into a bucket now, such as this one. The screws are already in it, rattling. The proper screwdriver bit, another one, and another one. Why not? 1/8 of a drill bit. It goes into a drill kit, then it goes into the bucket, and this wrench or something similar, and the whole closer, everything goes in the bucket. I don't need 50 pounds of tools, I just need this much. And I forgot to mention, I need a center punch for the holes, so this is coming as well. So my bucket doubles as a work ladder. Let's take a look at this layout here. It's being lined up here with the edge of the door there. This is the gap between the 2 pieces of paper, so this is how they come together in 3D, this paper being more in front of the other, or more forward than the other. It's been pre-punched and has been they have been drilled. So if I take away, I should see 6 holes and they should just work. Now the depth of the hole has been measured up like so. This way you can see this length of the screw goes through the closer body and this length of the drill bit goes into the door. Likewise on the shorter screw you get the idea, but I've been drilling it to a lesser depth. The screw holes luckily line up perfectly, and I'm gonna have to preload it again, set it to 90 degrees there, and put this tiny screw in accordingly thereabouts. So let's test the assembly. It's a little heavy to open, but very importantly, the closer arm is not hitting the top of the door. It's clearing it, and let's see this closing speed and latching speed. I say we're done here. Just throw the plastic cover on. So these plastic clips allow it into this position there to cover that hole, and this is going, I see, this is gonna go on with just one screw there, because the other one, there's nothing for the other one. Yeah, so just one screw, because for the other one there's nothing in the housing that can fit in this second screw. Oh yeah, fully functional. Cleaned up the wood chips from the floor, very important. So now that the closer is mounted on the door, I want to deal with the closing speed or the force required to open or for the door to close. So this information is in 2 places in the manual here. The first one would be this one here. Depending on what size this door is, the end of the cylinder, the end of the cylinder there needs to be adjusted to whatever power level. So that's one thing. And another thing here is this one here with back check, main speed, and latching speed. So this is 4 adjustments here. So this is 1 and 3 other valves here. You can see the small Allen keys for the 3 adjustments there, and it says 5 to 7 seconds. However, there is a B version to go about all this. Follow this link, and when you do that, this is what shows up on the phone. Let's begin. Parts included. Yep, those were the parts. Those were the parts that I used, and this was a pull side mount, and this was a right hand door. And I'm gonna skip this because this is how the paper template was separated, so that's done. And this is an interior door, and so this is the first thing or next thing to check the door's width or size and the setting. So I've adjusted the spring inside this part here to spring power 2 because that's appropriate for the width of the door, and it was requiring it still requires a lot of force to open it, but that's a start because the width of the leverage here, or the width of the door, dictates the leverage on the door closer, and it needs to be set appropriately. So that's a good start. So that one's done. So done with the spring power adjustment here, and that needed this 5/32 of an inch hex key or Allen key here. Now next one here is back check main speed and latching speed. Right now the latching speed is good, but I want to point out here one thing. I'm installing the 4040 model. So on the 4041 there's one extra set screw for delay speed. I'm not gonna deal with this because I'm not using that mode, and also this Roman numeral 3 and 2, so I'm not dealing with either of these text boxes here. I'm gonna go with the app here. Very simply, just move along. That's the screw size. That's another screw or bolt that's already been installed. That's done. And door closing time. Okay, so the door closing is fine, but it just takes too much power to open it to begin with. So if the time is fine, it's smooth all right, but it has too much resistance there. First thing to check is the back check. So this is what it says, and rotate it 45 degrees at a time, and turn the back check valve counterclockwise in this orientation here. So let's do that. So this is the back check valve, and I rotated it out one full turn in 4 different stages, and as a result the door is now super duper easy to open, almost one finger open, and has a decent closing speed and latching. Okay, we're gonna speed up that latching. It does latch, but it's a little glacial, but the opening here has significantly improved. I guess I can make it just a little lighter with giving it another 45-degree turn. It's very easy to see 45 degrees there. How about that? Make it lighter. So that was counterclockwise. Yeah, very easy to open the door now. There. So that's good there. So the back check has been adjusted with this 3/32 inch Allen key there, and the next thing to do, I guess, is the latch speed. I want to adjust the latch speed, and that's going to be that Allen key there, or that set screw there at the corner of the unit. Remember, this is upside down, so I'm looking at it this way, so we need that one in the bottom right hand corner. All right, let's see. This closing speed is a lot faster, and latching speed is also a lot faster. So closing speed, latching speed. Now I found that if you just, out of the box, all of these 3 screws are fully in. So if you start adjusting this one without adjusting this one first, nothing's gonna happen. So that's why they are numbered as 1, 2, 3, because that's also the order they should be touched. 1, 2, 3, 4, if you want to number it that way. So you have to adjust the closing speed before you tinker with the latching speed. The closing speed, as indicated on the picture, would be this part of the swing roughly. So from about here to here, and the door so now opens easily and closes fast with a little positive slam. I say we're done here.